Pond today in Woburn. I'm your host, Samantha Stone. I'm so glad to have you here. As the weather has gotten up, the city has gotten very busy. So we have a lot of great things that we're going to talk to you today about. And as always, up first, Mayor Concanon. Welcome, Mike.
Hi, Samantha. How are you?
I'm good. I know this weekend was super busy. Mother Nature cooperated, and we had an awesome conservation day. Lots of different things happened there, and really busy volunteers.
Yeah, we had a great day. We were down the pond most of the day. There were a couple of other groups working elsewhere in the city, but we had a huge crowd down the pond, got a lot accomplished. Um, Dozens and dozens of volunteers doing all sorts of things. I was focused on Lions Park for the most part. And then we also spent some time as Lions cooking burgers and dogs for the entire group of volunteers around the pond. It was a great day. We got a lot accomplished. It was nice enough. The weather was nice in the morning. So yeah, we got a lot done, and hopefully people get to enjoy the pond now that it's cleaned up, ready for another season.
Absolutely. We know there's a host of volunteers that sort of work tirelessly throughout the year, and this is a nice opportunity to sort of kick off the season with a whole lot of extra people. One of the things that we have coming up is a small sort of safety improvement project at the parking lot there, the main lot there at Horn Pond.
Yep.
And I know we'll be starting work somewhat soon, so I thought it might be a good chance for you to tell people what's happening.
Yeah, so over on the Lake Ave side, the parking lot near the water treatment plant and the Gold Star Park, um, there will be some work done there with the fish ladder and some of the other projects happening. Interestingly, the other day on Saturday, Conservation Commission spent some time there cleaning up along the waterfront. Smart cleaning, appropriate cleaning to allow for better views of the water and everything. So there is a lot of attention being focused on that area. And in conjunction with that, we were able to get some complete streets state funding that allowed us to pay some attention to the entrance to that parking lot as you're coming off Lake Ave into the parking area. If you're down there at all, you notice that there's a really long stretch. The crosswalk is uh, actually too long. So one of the safety improvements that this program authorizes is things like this, straightening out and realigning the entryway, narrowing it down a little bit, just to make it safer for pedestrians to cross, realigning where the crosswalks line up. So you'll see some work down there. Pretty sure the bids are opened on May 8th, and it shouldn't take long after that for the construction crews to get down there. There'll be some disruption, but we'll manage that with signage and traffic details. So people will still be allowed to use the space. But I think when it's done, they'll see that it's a little safer and more organized entryway into that parking lot. I think it'll be an improvement. So we look forward to that work getting underway.
Yeah, absolutely. I know I've crossed that many, many times, even when my kids were little, and it's a pretty long stretch to have to
Yeah.
go through. So
Yeah,
it'll be a
you
nice
get hung out
improvement.
there. If you're walking across the street or, even with the baby carriage or something, you're hung out in the middle of that entryway longer than you should be. So this is going to address that.
Fantastic. Now, we can't get too far into our conversations. The first was the initial time where people could pull papers to express their intent to run for election or in some cases re-election. And I know people have been asking, have you made it official yet?
I guess I'm making it official now. I was in line Thursday morning at 9 a.m. with many of the candidates for city council and school committee. I have secured my nomination papers. I've been out collecting signatures the last few days. Yes, I will be a candidate for reelection to the position of mayor. I'm excited to do it. I can tell you it was a really quick year and a half, probably the quickest year and a half of my life. Very busy but fulfilling. And I feel like we've made some great progress here, and I'd like the opportunity. I'd be honored to have the opportunity to continue to do some of that good work. So yes, I will be a candidate for reelection. I'll do the announcement and all the proper process. But yeah, breaking news today, I am a candidate for reelection to the position of mayor.
Well, thank you for making it official. I know we have a very significant group of people who are putting their hand up and raising their hands to run for local positions. Very
Yeah.
grateful. Many of you know that I have for many years run election interview series. I will not be doing that this year because of my job, and it would be inappropriate for me to do that. However, I have a wonderful resident who is going to be doing those interviews. So we will still continue to do them. We will just do them with someone else, and I'll get a chance to introduce all of you to Carla. Many of you may know her, but she'll come on in a week or two, and we'll catch everybody up on how we'll do that. So
Great.
it'll
Yeah, I look
be
forward
great.
to it.
Yeah, me too. We talked a little bit about safety in terms of the entrance to Horn Pond. We just had a meeting for the community around the downtown safety improvement project, which is a big long-term
Yeah.
project. But it was nice to see we have a couple of options now as we've been getting input from the community that we're making progress towards the long-term goal there. And I
Yeah.
thought, one of the things that caught my attention was in the designs, there's some parking along what is now Common Street where you drive by in front of City Hall. And there's a picture above Diane Merrill's desk, which is for those who haven't met Diane yet, your assistant. And it shows parking, I don't know, maybe from the 20s, 30s, 40s. I'm not sure the exact time period along there, which I thought sometimes old ideas come back in style, right?
Yeah, so we're early on in the design process for the downtown improvement project, but as folks may remember, the city has worked very hard to compete for federal and state traffic improvement program money, and we've been fortunate enough to be placed on the TIP, the traffic improvement program, and to the tune of $20 million in improvements in downtown traffic safety. So we're very fortunate to be in that position. It's very competitive. There's communities all around us who are fighting hard to get a piece of that pie. We've been fortunate enough, essentially because the conditions downtown are serious enough, they warrant this spending of federal and state money. But we're on the tip and we're moving towards that. It is a long process. There's several phases of design, and there's community input that's sought at each step of the way. This past Thursday night, we had another one of those community meetings, fairly well attended. We got some great input from people. We were able to present a couple of ideas that are percolating up at this point. And to your point, some of them include parking around the common. In addition to the safety improvements, just vehicle, pedestrian, bicycle safety improvements, there's also the benefit of increased safety in terms of access to the common and just walking around the center without feeling like your life is in your hands. So yeah, one of those ideas would be create a better access to the common itself and maybe even allow people to park close to it so they can walk right out and see some of the nice memorials and just spend some time out there. Um, we did get feedback from residents the other night, and I'm sure we'll continue to get it more. We get feedback from the downtown merchants because another aspect of this is the potential impact on parking. Whether it's going to be a plus, a minus, or a neutral, we're not sure yet. But we understand how important it is that people have the ability to park close to many of our downtown merchants. It keeps their businesses running, and it's convenient to those customers. So between the parking, the access, and the traffic safety improvements, I'd say those are the three priorities of the project. And we would encourage people to watch those presentations on public media and weigh in. They can send us emails. They can fill out a form on the website. They can attend one of the upcoming meetings. And this project will be as a result of community input. So we're looking for as much as we can get.
Excellent, thank you. I know on the agenda this week for City Council, I believe, are recommendations around ADUs. And we've talked about this in the past, the state law that's in place and our process for moving forward and making sure compliance with that law. I know there are some adaptions that you're allowed to make. They're not hugely extensive, but there are some.
Hmm.
Anything you would able to share with us in terms of what we're going to be recommending specific to Woburn?
So the backdrop, as you said, is this is a state law that is mandating that communities allow accessory dwelling units. There was a law that was passed, and then there was also some discretion given to the state agency that oversees such things to create regulations to implement the law. And it's up to the communities in the Commonwealth to adopt an ordinance that meshes with that law and with those regulations. That's what we're in the process of doing now, creating an ordinance that complies with the law. As the regulations get fleshed out over time, there have been some changes, there have been some tweaks, there has been some enhancements, and we're trying to stay up to date on those as we develop our own ordinance. Some of it has to do with special, definitions of what we mean by a principal dwelling versus a single family home. Where exactly are these ADUs allowed? Is there any discretion within the community to determine where they may or may not be allowed? Those are all the things we're working through now. So there's a proposed draft ordinance that was submitted to the council for their review and for their tweaking. And that's making its way through the process now. As is the case with any change like this, there's community input, there's public hearings. So we do encourage people to look into that a little bit more. The proposed draft ordinance is part of the agenda for city council meetings. People can review that. They can review the minutes of meetings to see how we're dealing with this issue, and maybe that can help them form their own opinions of what they think we should be doing, and they can voice those opinions as the process plays out.
Excellent. This week happens to be Teacher Appreciation Week. I know we sort of took a pause this morning and wanted to sort of recognize it. That those who follow us on the Facebook page probably saw us do that recognition. I know you on a weekly basis visit various schools, and
Yep.
it's always top of mind for you.
Yeah, I go every Friday with Dr. Crowley, the superintendent. We're usually joined by a couple of city councilors and school committee members. This past Friday, we toured the Reeves, and we had a great time meeting with the students and the staff, the teachers, the principal. We usually spend maybe an hour and a half touring each of the schools. It's really interesting and fun, and it's informative because we get to see in practice the investments we're making in our schools. And there's particular programs that get added, and there's staff that gets introduced and different ways of teaching the curriculum. And we get to see that in action. And there's no substitute for seeing it in practice. They're not just numbers in a book. They're not just names. You get to see, the teachers working with the kids, and you get to see the interactions with all sorts of levels of need. And it's always an eye opener to me. And I encourage anyone, in the community who has an interest in what's happening in our schools to try to learn more. Because if you've been out of school longer than 5 or 10 years, Woburn Public Schools don't look like they used to, and they sure as heck don't look like they did when I was in school. And I think if you had the opportunity to see what I see every Friday morning, you'd better understand why we're spending the money we're spending in our schools. The needs are there, and we're doing everything we can to meet those needs. And I am pleased to report that what I see every Friday tells me that we've made good investments and they are paying off. So it's probably the highlight of my week. I know Matt Crowley would say the same, because in his position, I think he'd love to spend every day in the schools, but he has a lot going on. But he knows at least on Friday morning for an hour and a half, he's going to be in the schools doing what he really loves as an educator. So it's probably the highlight of our week.
Yeah, that's fantastic. In a minute, we're going to talk to our recreation director, Rory, about some of the great things that are happening in our parks and playgrounds across the city this summer and get an update on those. But before I invite Rory into the conversation, I just wanted to sort of acknowledge we've had our longtime recreation director, Snooky, has retired. And we're very sad to see him go, but we do have someone who's very capable stepping into the position, and I wanted to give you an
Yep.
opportunity to introduce him to us.
Yeah, very, very sad to see Jim DeLong retire. 52 and a half years of service to the city of Woburn, the Parks Department. He started the day after he graduated high school and has been with the department all that time. Rose to the rank of superintendent, where he oversaw all the fields and parks in the city. He certainly left his impact in the city, and his workload grew over the years, and the size of his workforce decreased. Yet somehow, through his magic, he was able to maintain parks and fields at the highest levels. We had a retirement party for him a week and a half ago, and everybody there was saying the same thing, that Woburn's parks and fields are the envy of every city or town in Massachusetts, New England, maybe the East Coast. And for years and years, Jim was able to do more with less. And again, he made us at the top of the heap when it came to parks and fields. And that is his legacy, how much he did for this community over the years and for how long he did it. So we were all pleased to join him at his retirement party. Rory did a great job putting it on and hosting it. And we know that Jim was touched. So it was very nice to be able to do that for him. He was joined that night by his successor. Steve Mealy has taken over. That's an appointment by the Recreation Commission. They interviewed several people. They felt that Jim was the best candidate to pick up where Snooki left off, and try to maintain that same high standard, and maybe even try to find different ways of doing things, to be creative and efficient. But we are very confident that Steve will be able to pick that ball up and run with it and keep Woburn's parks and fields at that top level. So we may have lost Snooki, but we have Steve. I think we're in good hands. And of course, we wish Snooki the very best in his retirement. He's still going to help us out. He's going to be around helping to mow and maybe keep an eye on some sprinklers for us. But at least he doesn't bear the heavy burden of wearing the crown anymore.
Excellent. Well, thank you for that update as always. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Samantha.
Excellent. Next up, Rory Lindstrom, our recreation director, who just came off a very busy weekend with the community yard sale.
Yeah, it was actually a really great day. I'm glad that it did the weather held off. I got probably about 20 emails asking if we were going to cancel. I said, it's not going to rain. It's not going to rain on my yard sale day. So it ended up being a really nice day. We had over 60 people on that map. And then we also held yard sales at Spence Farm, which turned out to be really nice. Everybody that was there thought that was a great idea. So we'll hopefully expand that for next year.
I love that. It gives people a chance who maybe don't have a yard to have a place that they
Yeah.
can participate
Myself,
as
I had
well.
one there too. So it was selfishly, it worked in my favor as well.
I love it. That's fantastic. I remember many years ago, my kids decided they were going to have a yard sale with the goal of getting to water country season passes. I will say they achieved their goal, and I was happy it didn't have to come out of my pocket. So, I want to talk though today about parks and playgrounds. There's three that we'll chat about today, but in particular, let's start with Leland. There's some new equipment going in there. Tell us about it.
Yeah, so we are putting in new equipment at Leland Park. There's some newer equipment that was there. I believe about 8 or 9 years ago, we got equipment in there as part of a grant, but we've had this old structure that's been there since, I think 1996. It was extremely old, had a lot of cracks in the slide, so it was desperately needed to be replaced. We're replacing that with a nice little ramp structure, got a like a slide or two on it, climbing wall. There's also a roller table slide on it, and as well as a spinny little topsy-turvy thing there as well. It's not a huge structure because it's not a big spot that we're refilling, but that whole park will look really nice once that's done. That should be done. The equipment is there. That should be done. We're just waiting on the contractor to finish another job, and he should be there probably within hopefully a week or two. Install that in probably another week or two. So I would say by the end of the
Exciting.
month.
I love it. That's fantastic. And
Yeah,
plenty of time for summer. That's
exactly.
awesome news. We also have a project going on at Green Street. What was the pool will now become a splash park and some renovated bathrooms, which we know people always appreciate. Where are we in that process?
So we were just out there today. They are starting to move along a little bit more. They were waiting for some equipment to be delivered before they could start their next process. Next week, they will be pouring some concrete foundations, the pathways, the concrete pad. as well as the company will be out there that's installing the spray features, putting all that stuff together. So they have about 6 weeks of work left. The project, the contract is till the end of June that they're supposed to be finished by. I foresee that they will be done by then, that we should have that turned on by the beginning of July. We also have, we're not renovating the bathrooms, we're actually having a new bathroom come and be installed there. We ordered a new prefab handicap accessible bathroom. That is ordered. It is scheduled to be delivered the beginning of July, so it's a lot going on at that time. The spray park could be open before the bathrooms are open, which is totally fine. You know, people are just gonna have to pick and choose whether they want to go. If there's no bathrooms, we could put a porta potty there if need be, but we can still open up the spray park without those. So we're excited for that.
Awesome. Yeah, great way to cool off in the heat of the summer. I know the Clap Park spray park is very well utilized, so we expect this will be as
Yeah,
well.
this is definitely much larger. A lot of different spray features, dumping features, spray guns, a lot bigger than the clap has. It's
Very
recirculated water as well too, so it's nice.
That's awesome. I'm so excited for that. And then the last one that I wanted to talk about was Fillo Field. This is a really special park because we've really been able to put an extra emphasis on accessibility for people of all different kind of mobility access points and things. And I know we've talked a little bit about this in the past, but tell us sort of what exciting things are going to go in there and where we are in that process.
Yeah, so that one should be done. That is the same schedule. The equipment is already there. We're now just still on the contractor's schedule of when he gets to that. The timeline for that was always originally the middle of May. Has to be good weather timing that will have the board in place rubber surfacing, which makes that fully accessible for all different type of mobility issues. So I'm looking at probably towards the middle of May that construction will start. We can open that at the end of May. It has a nice surface mount merry-go-round that was generously, the funds for that were donated by the Handicap Commission. So we were able to get that feature in. It's not a large space. We weren't able to really build the playground that we really, wanted to envision with, handicap accessible ramps, and all that. But we did sit down and meet with, some parents and some different stakeholders in that to come up with a final design before we went out and purchased it. So that I think everybody's pretty happy with the design. So, but it kind of really opened up everybody's eyes that we need a more accessible playground here in Woburn, and that's what we're hopefully planning towards the future for.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see it. I was fortunate to sit into some of those community discussions and learned a lot along the way. And I know we were able to incorporate an awful lot of very useful feedback into the final design there. So it's not a huge space, but I think it's going to be a really awesome space that lots of people are going to be able to play together. And
Yeah.
I'm excited there. Now I know we talked a lot about sort of playgrounds and play spaces, but you also have in recreation a very full summer schedule of activities. Before I let you go, Rory, I just wanted to see if there was any programming you wanted to give a shout out to or highlight.
Yeah, I mean, we have our full day club rec program that's run out of Spence Farm. We were able to double the enrollment for that. So we still have space in that, which we've got a lot of great feedback on that. The price is very reasonable for a full day program out of that. Great staff for that one. We're also doing something new this year at Spence Farm for starting in July, I think the middle of July on Monday nights, we're doing some children's programs from 6 to 7. It's free children's performances. We've got a magician coming one week, a children's concert. Curious Creatures is coming another week, and I believe it's a yo-yo guy coming the fourth week. So just something different to offer the residents, something free on a Monday night, and have the ice cream truck there or something. Just to offset, we do have our movies that will start up again on Tuesday nights down at Library Field. They will start a little bit earlier this year. We've secured the LED screen so that they don't have to wait till the sun goes down, which tends to be a lot of, complaints. And I understand as having a 2-year-old that nobody wants to watch a movie starting at 8:30. So we're going to be able to start those movies a little bit earlier at night so that some of the younger kids can actually benefit from that. So
Oh, I love it.
excited.
Those are fantastic things that are happening.
They are, yeah. They are. We're
Awesome. Thank you for
excited.
joining us, Rory. There's a lot of really good stuff that you and the team have been doing to get ourselves ready for the summer. And I look forward to all those new places being available
Yeah,
and people getting to use them.
me too. Thanks for
Fantastic.
having me.
Excellent. Next up, we're going to talk about a little different play space. Sharon, thank you for joining us from Connor's Kindness Project. There's a whole lot of cornhole about to happen this week.
Oh, there sure is. It's our major fundraiser.
I'm so excited. Tell us a little bit about what will be happening. It's at the Crown Plaza, correct?
It is. It's at the Crown Plaza in Woburn. It's from 5:30 to 9:30. We actually, Connor's Kindness Project, most people may know and some may not, is a nonprofit, and we're located here in Woburn, in Cummings Park, and we deliver kindness kits to children in hospitals and shelters that are in vulnerable or challenging situations. We've had the support of many of you. I know you're coming to play, Sam, so thank you. That'll be great. But all of the funds will be completely directed to the kindness kits that go out to children. And we have delivered in 3.5 years over 12,000 of those. And this year alone, we'll deliver 5,500 by the end of the year. I do think we're going to exceed that number. And we have, a growth plan for every year. So having this fundraiser and having people attend and support actually helps us to grow that programming, because at the less money that we have to spend out of our pocket and the more that we can get in for fundraising helps us to help more children, I think, as all of you know. So it's free general admission. So say you don't play cornhole and you just want to come out and see what we're about and see who supports us, and maybe we have great raffles and auction items, just come on by. And Scoreboards is actually at the end of the night giving a 20% off coupon for appetizers. So they're trying to help get people in the door as well.
I think that's fantastic. And any of you who participated in Kindness Day at Spence Farm would have seen us helping build some of the kits. These are, incredibly valuable. They're so helpful. You're kind enough to give us some in the Community Resource Center. So the occasions we have someone who might be having a difficult conversation with their kids, we can, provide a little bit of break for kids to be entertained and distracted while we have that conversation. And the kids love them. I'm a really big fan of what's in those boxes and really grateful for that work.
Thank you. We put a lot of thought into it. And I should say Connor, who is my grandson, who started the nonprofit when he was 12, he's turning 16 in June. But if I want to change something in the kit, it has to be Connor approved. So, you can thank him for everything that's inside there. He calls it the wow factor. And I think that the intent is for exactly what you're utilizing it for, Sam. To
Yeah,
help.
I think it's fantastic. I'm excited. Are there still time for people to sign up for teams for cornhole, and where would they do that?
We do have a few more slots open for teams, so I welcome anybody that might like to join. If you visit our website, it's connorskindnessproject.org. Right on the homepage, you just hit a button that says cornhole, and it will bring you right to we make it nice and easy. It will bring you right to the site to sign up. And when you come by, we'll be taking Venmo that night. We'll be taking credit cards. We'll be taking cash. We'll take anything that people want to bring on by to pay. But yeah, so I mean, sure, if you don't play cornhole, come on by and just support us.
Just have fun. I love it. Thank you for having this and hosting this here in Woburn. I think it'll be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you. And thank you and Mayor Concanon for allowing me, to come on and share that with the community. You guys are doing some wonderful things,
Yeah.
truthfully.
Thank you, Sharon. I look
Thank
forward
you.
to it.
Thank you.
And next up, we have Jamie and Mark. We're going to talk all about Flag Day. That felt like so far away, but somehow the middle of May is already upon us, and we're getting super excited. Mark, tell us a little bit remind us what day the Flag Day celebrations are here in Library Field.
Sure. Thank you for having us on, Samantha. It's always a pleasure to be here. Flag Day this year will be Saturday, June 14th, so it'll fall on the actual Flag Day itself.
Fantastic. That's a nice convenient scheduling. I like when that happens.
Yes, yes, agreed.
Jamie, tell us a little bit. I know there'll be some good eats going on. Tell us a little bit about what people can expect to be able to munch on while they're at Flag Day.
Yeah, we're still accepting food vendors. So if anyone has a food truck or just a local establishment that wants to participate, reach out to us. We're going to have a few of the same vendors from last year. So typical kind of like fair food, fried dough, fried Oreos, cotton candy, that kind of stuff. We do have a new barbecue vendor joining us this year. Sam Walker's Tavern will have a table again. Haven't done our menu yet, but last year we did the barbecue thing. We're going to veer away from that and let the barbecue vendor have that. But there's going to be hopefully, ice cream, sandwiches, all sorts of good snacks. I believe the Fox Den from Woburn Center is joining us again this year with their pierogies. So all sorts of different good, tasty food.
Well, I'm now officially very hungry. Let's talk a little bit about some of the other activities that will be happening on that day. Jamie, tell us a little bit. Will be live music. I think that typically has happened in the past.
Yep. So starting right at the festival starts at 2:00. So we'll have a act on right at 2. A couple of the same acts from last year. Julie Rhodes, she is a Woburn native. She will be singing again. She does blues. 3 Floors Up was another Woburn band. They'll be finishing off the night for us. We have a new band joining this year, the Rusty Randoms. We have Kali starting at 2. Might be putting a 5th act in there. So we'll have music all day. A lot of activities that we had last year. We're going to have the mini golf again. Going to have a petting zoo. We have bouncy houses. This year we're going to have one just for toddler age children. So if you had smaller kids and you were worried about them, this year there'll be a separate one. Face painters, we've added a couple, so hopefully keep the lines down. We have a new fun photo booth, interactive photo booth for some of the older crowd to get in on the fun this year, and lawn games, all sorts of fun stuff.
I love it. Mark, the Kiwanis have long put this on for our community, and we're really grateful. We know how much work goes into this. Are there still opportunities for businesses or individuals who might want to sponsor and participate and help contribute to the, this is not inexpensive to put on?
No, that's a great question, Samantha. Thank you. Yes, there are opportunities for Woburn businesses to sponsor the event. We have a form online that we can provide. It's a sponsorship form to come down and set up a booth to promote your local business or your wares for the day. And we are still in need of Woburn businesses as well to sponsor the event financially. It's a significant cost for Sam Walker's and for Kiwanis to put on this event. And the goal is to keep it free. So what I mean by that is that everyone that shows up there, the only thing they should have to pay for are food and drink. Everything else that encumbers the day will be free. So the festivities and the activities that Jamie spoke about, and then there's fireworks at the end of the night. About 10 o'clock, and all of that has gone up. Part of that with the tariffs, we've included a more of expense there too. So our goal is so that all of this is free for everyone to show up and have a good time and enjoy themselves. So.
Yeah, it's fantastic. The fireworks is always I've been going since my kids were little, and we have a spot we always put our blanket on, and they're not running around in the field playing with the ball anymore. They're adults, but they're still having fun, and we still find it a really excellent tradition. This year we'll be there from a city. I'll actually have I don't know if anybody's going to be able to see this, probably not very well, but I have these temporary tattoos we had made, so hoping people will be able to come by and check it out and learn a little bit about what we're doing in the Community Resource Center, but also show off their Woburn pride on the day. Hopefully it's going to be lots of good fun stuff going on there. I'm really excited for it. And I think you mentioned, Mark, the fireworks are usually kind of when it gets dark, somewhere around 9:30, 10 o'clock. Is that correct?
Yeah. Last year we had a singer sing the national anthem just before the fireworks. Don't know if that'll still be the case yet this year, but yeah, when it's dark, the fireworks will go off. Hopefully they're bigger and better than last year. Also wanted to mention too, Samantha, that we do have a website up online where local businesses can donate financially directly to the event. So they can edit a credit card, a debit card, and they can help out any way that works for them to help us keep this event free.
Fantastic. Mark and Jamie, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate all the work and effort that the Kiwanis and Sam Walker's Tavern put into making this an exceptional, fun Woburn tradition. I know lots and lots of families get to come down there and enjoy it, and folks of all ages, and we're grateful for that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Samantha. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We appreciate the city's support. Thank you.
Thank you all for joining us. I know there was a lot of exciting things happening across the city. One other sort of housekeeping that I want to make sure those of you who are watching are aware of. On May 15th, we have two things happening that are city sponsored. There's a Narcan training and overdose prevention training that's being done in the Community Resource Center. And then we also have an open Q&A session a little bit later that same evening with Waste Management to talk about the trash automation that's coming in July. So people should come with their questions, and we'll be sure to answer all of them, and we'll be there as long as we need to, but we'll be kicking off at 6 o'clock. So with all of that happening across the city, Woburn, please continue to take good care of each other.